Hello, welcome to Project Insight's professional development power tutorial series. Excuse me,
Yes.
where we highlight ways in which Project Insight gives superpowers to project managers and organizations using our award-winning tool. Today, we're going to show you how to streamline your time, billing, and invoice workflows in Project Insight.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's
few
not an easy thing.
By no means is it. Oh my gosh, rope all these pieces in. I'm excited to get it done. A few housekeeping items. Everyone will be on mute. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat. Feel free to say hi there now. My name is Mathew Sparks. With me is Steve West. Steve has more than 2 decades of experience helping thousands of organizations make their work life easier through project management as the founder and CEO of Project Insight. He's my boss. He's wonderful. He's going to show us some amazing things today. Are you ready to get going, Steve?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Time tracking and project management are two things that a lot of clients of ours before they get here have a lot of, you know, they struggle with this because most of the time your schedules are in one place and then your time tracking is totally in another place. And so Project Insight has both the scheduling components and the time tracking components built right into the system. And so I think what we're going to do here first is just show you how simple it is for people to enter their time because with one of the big things about combining your project management system and your time is that you get the people doing the work to help you out by putting their time into the tool. And so if you're looking at my screen now, you'll see this is the home screen for Project Insight. It's really super simple. If you're not the project manager, meaning you're somebody in the field trying to do the work, all they need to do is learn this work list here. And this screen basically serves up all the tasks that someone's assigned to across many different projects. And to enter their time and update the status, they can just look at the tasks. Here's the name of the task, the project they're on, what the status is. They can simply click in here, set the task to done. They could even put a comment into the project manager and say, I finished this. And then right from this area, they can enter time, just like a time tracking system, and say, I worked on this task, whatever the description is, whether it's billable or not. This is all configurable. These codes are configurable to your specs, but they can save. Basically, they've done the task, they've updated the status, they've put the task time entries in right here. Super simple. This is just one of many places that a person can enter time. We try to keep it really easy so that if they're looking at the task that was assigned to them, they should just enter their time right there. But a lot of clients, if you are familiar with time tracking, you're probably used to a
Steve,
time entry grid. Yeah, okay.
before you leave work list real quick, one of the things, two other points to note here was the timer that you could have utilized to enter time that was right there.
That's
This is
correct.
also the same experience as our Teams app, so somebody doesn't even have to leave the platform they're using day in and day out, and our mobile. So you have a lot of different ways of input here, or the next one, which you're about to go to right now.
Right. And so, for example, like there is a timer component right into the till. If I can start a timer here, and now it's a clock is going. Actually, there's three timers actually running from earlier. Some I did 2 hours and then 6 minutes, and this is the new one. At the end of the day, they can come in here and submit all their time right off the timer. So that is another way to do it. This work list also is available in a mobile app. So a person can run their timer from their mobile device, all those places. Another area that your team might need to be familiar with is a lot of companies are used to this kind of grid concept. So the team members can go to the grid and see every task. I was just showing a couple tasks here, but they can enter their time right here as well on the grid, and then they can get a sense of what have I done so far for the week. When the week is over, you submit your timesheet to your boss or whomever it goes to, and then it can be routed for approval. And those are some of the steps that you need to take in order to go ahead and get that invoiced.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this is a There is also a time home area that they can see all their time sheets and more information as well. So what's really good about this is that your project plan is right in the tool, and the time tracking is automatically connected to those tasks and those projects automatically. You don't have this time tracking over here and your project plans over there, which is a lot of people. That's what, when they come to us, that's what the reality is. But this is all real time information. Um,
Real Real
yeah,
time's key. I think the timeliness is a thing that's also often overlooked when you think that you could have these tasks coming in from multiple projects, and some of them may be very far into the future. You're only seeing the relevant content here on your work list, on your time entry grid. So
yeah.
that way, somebody's not sorting to find what thing they should enter time against. It's just right there and easy for them.
Right. I mean, when you assign the tasks to the individuals, the project insight will send them only things on their grid they're assigned to and only things they're assigned to put the time in. But the goal is, as a project manager, get your team to put the time in for you. So then your reports are all automated. And now I've switched gears and I've sent you two over into a project plan. This is our task list. We have a Gantt chart as well, but I want to show in many different views of projects, but I want to show kind of specifically how the time tracking appears in project insight. So what I'm looking at here is a project plan, you know like kind of like Microsoft project. You see your predecessors and successors, your effort and your duration, who it's assigned to, all of that stuff. But you note here I've added this column to this view called work billable total, and this is the scheduled plan, or it could, if you're a more formal project manager, we're talking about your plan value. And then when it's marked completed, we'll talk about your earn value. But this is really kind of your scheduled budget for the project. So as you build your project plan, Project Insight calculates all that information. But a minute ago, I was entering some time entry, and I've added these other two columns to show you the hours and then the dollar value of that. So in this case, I've got this project plan that has, a billable scheduled value of 120. And uh, when the time entries are put in, this is how much we've, put in billable time through the time entry system in those
On
over
those
from the users.
corresponding tasks as it
Yeah,
rolls into each of those. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Now, I'm not going to get into it, but the rates for all of these costs can be done through rate cards or applied right to the project or a default on someone's profile. The way that it's calculated is dynamic depending on what you want to do. But wanted to kind of jump forward now that you've got your time entries in here. What about billing them? And the most common billing parts of this are, you're either doing a time and material project with somebody where you're just putting your time in and it's calculating, and then you got to bill it as they do the work. That's one aspect. And then another aspect is, which is more common, I think, or I think they're both equally common. Another scenario is you give somebody a proposal for a fixed bid and then you got to bill that. So we're just going to go through both of those cases while I'm in this particular project. And the other key thing is the project managers are the ones that usually know. They know how much labor's been done. They know what's going on. You want to empower the project manager to be able to kind of tell accounting, what do we need to bill here? Because accounting has no idea what's going on. They have to ask, right? So
Yep.
the people that actually send the invoice and make the invoice generally are not the same people that actually know what the heck's going on. And so in this views, we have an area of our tool called invoice records and proposals. And we'll talk a little bit about proposals in a minute, but meaning like in our tool, you can actually get proposals from an external system, or you can just enter them in or whatever. That's like the order. In fact, I'll probably just show you real quick. This might be like a typical order of a bunch of labor and expenses and costs. And you can see here, this particular proposal's got, yeah, this is partially invoiced. These ones are fully invoiced. Um, I'll show how to invoice from your proposal in a minute, but I want to first talk about doing time and material. Let's say you've got a project for somebody, you gave them like kind of a rough budget, maybe $30,000 or $100,000, whatever it is, and now you actually got to invoice what your people did. So you can come in here and create an invoice record. I'll just call this one time and material for clarity. You can name your invoice for the project, and you start here. And I'm going to add some time um, that we've already invoiced. And let's just call it, phase one labor. I'm just naming it that. But you can say this is development. If you're doing software development, I can just type in a line item to bill them, or I can search those time entries that we already did. And in fact, I could just hit add all, or I can come through here and say, yep, we did that. And I want to bill that. And I want to bill this. And you can just construct a line item. These are the actual individual time entries from the different people that are working on this project. So this allows you to kind of aggregate it into line items. And let me just pull these, 9 line items. Now I've created one line of my invoice. And let me go ahead and do another one. I can say, this is some other component of what you might have done, something
Phase two.
else.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, other phase, some other phase two. Same thing. I can search by person too. I can search by code, but I'm just going to search everything and just go through, and I can add these line items. In fact, you can even adjust them and say, I'm not going to bill my client for that. There, I want to make that 0 and still add it. And then as these time entries are getting associated to a time entry, Project Insight makes sure that you can't bill them again. So they now are kind of off the table for a future invoice. So as your team is putting the time entries in, Project Insight's actually letting you find those time entries that need to be billed and then build them out. And now I have this, I have two lines in my invoice record. And when you're done, you can
We have
say
got
ready
a
to, yeah,
question really quick, Steve, and that was just, are these
yeah,
exportable? And I think that's exactly what you're getting into right now. One of the means in which they are exportable,
yeah.
right?
All of the data those time entries can go out into a spreadsheet. They can go out through the API. We have integrations. I was about to show you this invoice record getting sent over to QuickBooks. So now that I've actually build all this, I can actually say send to QuickBooks, and it's going to ask me. I didn't create a QBO code for that. And if I hit send to QBO, it'll I didn't need a code for that to do that, but it'll actually create an invoice record in QuickBooks Online automatically. And you can do that with other accounting systems too, not just QuickBooks.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. So you have the ability to have that integration automatically push through to
Yeah,
accounting software of choice. You can
correct.
have it export via the tool, via Excel, use the reporting that we have to do that as well. Or
Yeah,
we also have the ability to push the data directly into Word reports and have this
yeah,
actually generated your branded invoice as well. So there's a
right.
lot of options for
Yeah,
that export.
you can download these invoice records, or you can download the timesheets themselves, or the individual time entries. Any one of those mechanisms. I think we just have a couple minutes, but that's making a time and material type of invoice. The other kind of invoicing I want to do real quick in the minute or two we have left is I want to be able to bill this invoice by percentages. So, like for example, this is a fixed bid project. I can only bill 36,000. It doesn't matter how many time entries. What's really cool about Project Insight though is that if this $36,000 project, if it took $50,000, we'll tell you that. But and you'll be able to see I proposed 36. Our schedule said 36, but when my people did the work, it actually took 50. Too bad I can't bill the 50, but at least that you had not performed as well on a particular project. Or maybe the other way around happens, or it's like $36,000 worth and it took you $20,000 of your labor to do it. Good for you. You made some money. We'll show you, our reports will tell you that information. But
It
yeah.
I love how easy it is, right? The fact that there's no effort needed other than the work being done to get that insight. So you know to bid appropriately next time, right? And not eat that
Exactly.
15 or whatever it was. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, what's really great here about this doing the fixed bid thing is I've got my forecast dates here, and I've got my time. I want to bill 50% of this. I can just click right in here, and I want to bill 25% of this and 25% of that. And now that's ready to go. If when I go and I'm ready to send an invoice record in for this proposal, it will actually just pull in the 50, 25, 25. So here I'll call this one fixed bid, fixed invoice.
Draw one.
And now it pulls over just half in 25 and 25. If I look at that proposal, you'll see it's only partially invoiced. And then now, let's say a week later, I come in and I want that to be 100. And I go and make another, if I go back to that project plan and I make another invoice record, it'll actually only invoice the rest of that first $10,000 line right there. So now in my proposal, I can see this is fully invoiced. This is 25, 25. So this lets you break your invoices down into pieces based on what you told the client. And that's really critical for a lot of type, even though you're professional services and you're trying to like figure out how much money you're spending, you need to be able to bill um, based on the invoice record. So this is a way you can do that as well. And then one last thing before we go, all this information you can get in a report like this. I'm just going to show you like kind of a dashboard view that has all the proposed numbers on it, all the billable numbers, all the invoice numbers. So here's what I proposed, here's the billable, and here's the invoiced across my whole entire portfolio all at once. And you can see, we've got 737 $6,000 worth of stuff to do. So far, we've entered billable entries of 430, and we've billed out 287. So this lets you see, this is across many projects. So once your PMs are doing this, you'll be able to see this information. And we have many other reports other than this. I'm just showing you a real basic one of how that works. So give Matt a call if you have more questions about this, and we'll be happy to show you in much greater detail what we're doing.
Yeah, happy to walk through your project flows. One of the other points, even to that question on export, is the fact that if you hit that save report button there, you have the ability to automatically schedule the report to be sent out. I could, of
That's
course,
right.
share it with my, collaborators, but I also can say go out every Friday or every Monday at this
Mhm.
time. So
Yeah,
that
all of our reports, you can schedule them and send them in Excel or whatever,
yep,
and access them via Power BI or Tableau or any of those other tools.
yep. Please do reach out. We very much value it. Looking forward to future power tutorials. And professional development series that we have going on. So thank
Yeah,
you
that's
so
great.
much, Steve.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, everybody.